So I recently discovered a series called Undead Unluck. It is a new series in Weekly Shonen Jump with 21 chapters that's currently been coming out since January 2020. And from the brief information I could gather, it is doing very well. It is reaching in the top 10 of Weekly Shonen Jump ongoing manga. It is selling very well. It's very popular. It's gaining an active community. So the series does seem to be doing rather well where it's not going to get the axe, because that usually happens to a lot of series in Weekly Shonen Jump. Like, they have about maybe a little bit of a hurdle to overcome, and if they can make it past that hurdle, then they can go on for a while without having their series completely axed or canceled, which is kind of why I don't normally go out of my way to read just the first chapters of a series, like a brand new first chapter, because there's been a lot of manga I've read over the years to where they're really good, they look very promising in Weekly Shonen Jump, and then they just straight up get axed, and you're like, really? There's so much potential here, there's so much character growth that could happen, and the series just ended after like a volume or two volumes. I'm like, really? This is extremely sad. And so that's kind of why I've been sitting on the fence and waiting for chapters to build up for some series just to see where it's going to go. However, I have heard a lot of good things about the recent series in Weekly Shonen Jump. I think it has like 6 chapters at this time. It's called like Time Paradox. I do want to get to reading that as well because I heard some really good things about it. I'm very interested. I heard that there's a lot of like reminiscent things from Bakuman. So if that really is the case, it's definitely going to be something that's going to, interest me. But let's get back on topic because this video is about Undead Unluck, and if it's something that you might be potentially interested in, because with recent series coming to a conclusion like Demon Slayer and The Promised Neverland, obviously people are looking for something new to read, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm looking for something new to read. I'm looking for something that catches my interest, something that isn't following the standard formula, something that doesn't feel same as stuff I read in the past. Now, there's nothing wrong with things that feel the same for others. They might come into it and really enjoy that stuff, but I personally want to find something very unique, something that really does stand out amongst all the other manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. And that is where my journey led me to this series. So, what's it about? Well, the first word I could say that describes this is weird, or unique. That is definitely the words I could attach to what Undead Unluck is, and kind of really to say how far out there it is compared to everything else now in the magazine. So, here's the story. It starts off literally with the first page in the first chapter showing this main female character of the story reading her favorite series. It comes to a conclusion. She's like, oh, thankfully, I got to read the ending of my favorite series, and now it's time to end it all. And right out off the bat, the series is starting off with a very dark tone, a very dark theme, like wanting to end it all. Literally, that is the first page. That is extremely dark, especially just for a shonen series that is catered towards young adults. That is a very dark theme. It really is. And I was just like, okay, that's definitely something to really just start your story off with. But it does progress into a lighter tone besides just that darker, grim element. It has this lighthearted nature, but it like shifts over to a dark tone as well. It's constantly going back and forth, and it doesn't seem to really be fighting each other like it doesn't mesh well. It actually does mesh well. It actually fits properly with the way the story is presented. So obviously, the character kind of wants to end it all, and she encounters this dude called Andy, or Undead, reference to the title, and basically, he wants to experience a true death, because he is someone that has lived on for a very long time. He cannot die, and basically, he's not a zombie, but he legitimately can't die, so he can literally have, like, his arm, like, completely fly off, and then he just regrows a new arm. He has insane regeneration. He cannot die. He calls himself Undead, but the main female character just calls him Andy, and because of the main female character's actual circumstance and what ability she's kind of been cursed with, it is to his benefit. So that's where the story's name comes into play. As you can see, it's called Undead Unluck, and obviously half of the title is Andy/Undead, while the other half of the title is the female character called Unluck. She is someone that has been cursed with an ability, which could be a blessing in its own way because of the way the story is presented as well, but she has an ability to where if anyone makes physical contact with her, now not clothing, but actual skin, they will be hit with major unluck. And when I mean unluck, I mean like maybe an asteroid can fall out of the sky and land right on top of you. That is the type of unluck that I'm talking about. So basically, our main female character has never really had physical contact with anyone, not even her parents. And it's really in the first chapter, so it's not a spoiler, but basically, because of her physical contact with her parents at a very early age, she costed her parents to basically, poof, gone out of her life. And she didn't realize or know about this until later on when she discovered she had this unfortunate curse applied to her. And so because of that, you know, she's never really wanted to interact with people. She felt like she was just a blight on the world, which is why the first page of the chapter pretty much introduces her wanting to end it all. So it all kind of fits into place, but it's much more than that. Besides just the theme of the main male character wanting to die and, you know, the main female character basically wanting to end it all too, there is more going on within the story. You come to find out that there is people with these abilities called negators. That's what they are. They're able to basically negate laws of physics, laws of reality, basically, because you have it to where someone is able to resist death itself, which is not normal. You have someone that's able to literally negate, let's say, the overall change of objects. You're having someone able to negate someone's justice entirely. There's some very wacky and unique abilities that is thrown into this series. It's definitely interesting. I do love the way the power system of this story is incorporated with how the world actually works. That's really cool to me. It's kind of like the powers are literally tied in to the laws of physics itself. So if you're wanting something unique with the power system, there you go. But once again, there is a lot more to this series than just that. There is beautiful art, which, oh man, like, there's some really good art in this series. You know, I really do like just some of the character designs. The character designs look absolutely fantastic. Like, really looks really good. For an early series, you know, obviously this author can really improve as time goes on. I think this is the author's first time really having to work in Weekly Shonen Jump, so it's very possible that as time goes on, as the mangaka continues to write and draw, you know, it's gonna just improve. I mean, look at Horikoshi. You look at his beginning work from the first chapter of My Hero Academia to where he's at currently now, it's night and day in terms of just the quality of his art. So just imagine this series from where it's at right now to what it's going to be like if it makes it to, let's say, 150 chapters. You get my point. But the point, though, is that Undead Unluck has also a very interesting plot as well, which is tied in with Norse mythology. And I think if you have been following me for a while, I'm a sucker for mythology, especially Norse mythology. And Norse mythology's kind of been applied to the recent events of the manga around chapter 16 onward, and this is getting into a little bit of spoiler territory. So if you don't want to be spoiled to the current events of the manga around chapter 16 to 20, then I don't recommend you continue. All I could say is if you're wanting something unique and weird, really give it a shot. It is good. I mean, it definitely has some elements that obviously can lead onto more of the etchier side because of the female needing physical contact. I think you can kind of put A and B together to realize how it can get into those type of elements. But if you can kind of look past that, it really does have a good story to tell. It's a really good manga. So I'm going to get into the spoiler stuff now. So when it comes to the current events with Norse mythology and all of that, you have it to where there is this book. And this book is called literally the Book of Revelations. And I don't really need, I don't think, to actually say what that's a reference to in real life. So I'm going to kind of avoid those details because, you know, YouTube. But the point is, though, is that this book is able to give objectives, like literally quest, to these 10 different individuals that are all negators, that are able to actually negate laws of physics, reality, etc. And these quests that they're given are just varying in difficulty. And you have to complete all these quests before a certain time, for instance, like in 3 months. If you don't, a penalty is applied. Now, this penalty isn't just an average penalty. A penalty literally changes the entire world. For instance, you have literally an entire page of this character that's like the leader of these 10 negators basically saying what has happened when their objectives have failed with this book over the years, basically. It's caused it where death can happen, it's caused where disease, it's caused it to where, you know, all sorts of things where there's not a unified language, etc. You know, all these things that's kind of happened throughout the entirety of the world, basically, you know, it's because of not fulfilling these quests. Penalties pop up. And, you know, when these penalties pop up, people think that everything is normal. That's how the world has always worked. They don't realize that that's penalties constantly building up from failures of quest objectives. And some of the new content, which is very interesting, I really do like the foreshadowing that was done to it. I'm going to show you in just a second. But basically, you have this creature called Uma, which is like literally laws itself. See, the characters are negators. They're able to negate certain laws. But you have Umas that are like these monsters that are literally the laws themselves or rules themselves, and it can apply new rules like spoiling or literally the cycle of life and death, etc. And you have this creature called Uma Galaxy that is able to literally create an entire galaxy. This was one of the penalties that they had happened to them. Basically, with them failing an objective, Uma Galaxy was born, which literally birthed the entire galaxy. It birthed countless stars, countless planets, Earth-like planets, new species that aren't human, etc. You can literally see how there's a page just depicting Earth and its moon by itself, and then you see Uma Galaxy go completely through the entire galaxy, and you just see stars start to appear. And this was actually foreshadowed early on in the manga, around like chapter 6 or 7, when you come in contact with Unchanged, to where our main female character, she draws a picture of the moon and the earth, and she draws stars around it. And I didn't really realize this until I caught it up, and now looking back, it was just in your face the entire time. But the world at the beginning of Undead Unluck is actually without stars. It's without planets, other planets, etc., without a major solar system. And with, you know, the arrival of Uma Galaxy, it's created the world that we actually know in real life. And I'm just like, whoa, that's kind of blowing my mind. But you're probably wondering, okay, so obviously this penalty is added, stuff like that. What's so bad about it? Well, apparently if 101 penalties build up, that means that Ragnarok will happen, which this is into the Norse mythology I was talking about. Now, I don't think I need to explain what Ragnarok is. Like, that's a very common myth. It's a very common thing that's thrown into literature. But to kind of say the basics, if you don't know, Ragnarok literally is where the gods go at war, they start fighting each other, and literally everybody dies. Like, legitimately, the entire world is forever changed, and it starts brand new again once everything is done. But it's kind of like a total reset. And obviously, our characters don't want that, because if that happens, it's like, you know, you're gone. So that's the point here. So Ragnarok, you know, is coming to this series, and, you know, they need to kind of hold it back by not allowing penalties to build up. So it's fairly unique. I do think that the series has a lot of potential. It's definitely something that stands out to me, and I do want to see where it goes. I think it's really good, and it does have some things I dislike when it comes to a lot of the fan service, but it's not too over the top to really bug me. You have an interesting main male character that has a split personality, which can definitely lead to psychological themes, which I'm a big fan of, so it has everything I want. And I am looking forward to seeing where it goes. It could turn out to be even worse, or it could turn out to be even better. It could get axed maybe next chapter. Who really knows? But I do think that it has a lot of potential, and it might be around to stay for a little while. But I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.